Let's now shift our attention to Sri Lanka that is currently battling its worst economic crisis since its independence in 1948. There is no respite in sight, and the situation is only likely to get worse across Sri Lanka. In the latest, a probable IMF bailout package for the debt-ridden nation is said to be likely delayed. And according to reports that have come in, an agreement with the International Monetary Fund has now been pushed back to the month of September because of unrest over the past few weeks. The announcement was made by the newly appointed President Ranil Wickremesinghe during a briefing which comes ahead of his maiden presidential speech that is scheduled to happen on the 3rd of August. Now, Wickremesinghe said that even though he, as the Prime Minister, had aimed at reaching an agreement by early August, it has now been pushed back to the month. It has been pushed back by a month. He's also cited that the ongoing protests in Sri Lanka are the reason for the delay in the IMF bailout package. Now, the World Bank, remember, has said that it does not have any plans to offer any new financing to Sri Lanka until the country has an adequate macroeconomic policy framework in place. The President Wickremesinghe has also alleged that many people who are taking part in the protests were indulging in acts of terrorism in the name of protests, which could further derail the country's chances of recovery.
මේ ඇති වුණ උද්ඝෝෂණ වලට මෙතෙන්ට ඇති වුණ අරගල වලට අපි බලාපොරොත්තු නොවන විදියට වෙනත් සංවිධාන ඇවිල්ලා අරගලයේ මුවාවෙන් ඒව අරගත්තා. ලංකා ඉතිහාසයේ පළවෙනි වතාවට අපි ෆැසිස්ට් ත්‍රස්තවාදයට මුහුණ දුන්නා. ගෙවල් පුච්චන එක පොත් පුච්චන එක හිට්ලර්ගෙන් ඉගෙන ගත්ත එක. LTT එහෙම කරේ වෙඩි තියන එක, බෝම්බ ගහන එක. පළවෙනි වතාවට අපිට ෆැසිස් කණ්ඩායමක් එක්ක අපි පුදුම වුණ සමහර සිවිල් සමාජය අනික් අය ඔක්කොම එතෙන්ට ආවා. විශාල කැළඹීමක් ඇති වුණා. එතනින් පස්සේ තමයි මම මේ ජනාධිපතිකම් බාරගත්තේ. මම ජනාධිපතිකම් බාරගත්තත් මේ රටේ තියෙන ආර්ථික පීඩනය නැති වෙලා නැහැ.
Ranil Wickremesinghe also appealed that the protesters should allow the government to function. Wickremesinghe, during his briefing, has called out the protesters for allegedly destroying properties, saying that they can actually now come back in their crowds and build the damaged infrastructure and build the damaged buildings. He also took a jab at the protesters and said that he now has no home to return to because the protesters had already stormed his home.
සමහරු කියනවා පෙළපාලි දානවා කියලා රනිල් ගෙදර යන්න කියලා. මම කියනවා කරුණාකරලා ඒක කරන්න එපා. මට යන්න ගයක් නැහැ. ඔයගොල්ලෝ ලෑස්ති නම් විශාල සෙනඟක් ගේන්න මාස 6කට මම ගෙදර හදලා දෙන්න. මගේ ගෙදර හදලා මං ගියන් පස්සේ ගෙදර පහු කරලා යන්න රනිල් ගෙදර යන්න කියලා. නැත්තම් වැඩක් නැහැ නේ ගෙදර නැති මිනිහට ගෙදර යන්න කියලා. නිකන් කාලේ නාස්ති කරන එකක්. එදා කරන වැඩ කටයුතු නැති වෙන එකන්නේ. එහෙන් දෙක එකක් ගම හදන්න නැත්නම් මම ගෙදර හදන්න. ඒත් රනිල් ගෙදර යන්න කියලා කියන්න එපා.
The country's ongoing financial crisis has hit a majority of the households. In fact, the situation is so dire that it has even forced some women to turn to sex work for earning an income. From acute shortage of food and fuel to deep drop in their forex reserves, the crisis has completely ruined the Sri Lankan economy. Colombo also announced in the month of April that it was suspending the repayment of its foreign loans because of a serious shortage of foreign exchange. Meanwhile, in another significant development, Sri Lankan police have now produced before a court millions of rupees in cash that had been found by anti-government protesters when they had stormed inside the presidential palace at the time when Gotabaya Rajapaksa was still the president. They stormed into his official residence and recovered nearly about 17 million Sri Lankan rupees inside his mansion, which they later very dutifully handed over to the Sri Lankan police. Now, Sri Lanka has seen months of mass unrest over the ongoing economic crisis, with the government declaring bankruptcy in the middle of April. Public anger reached its peak earlier this month when thousands upon thousands of Sri Lankan demonstrators stormed into the presidential secretariat and other government buildings to voice their anger. This uprising by the Sri Lankan people forced the Sri Lankan strongman president Gotabaya Rajapaksa to flee from the country in the middle of the night. On the 13th of July, he of course flew off to Maldives, and then from there he left for Singapore, from where he sent in his resignation letter. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.